On this day in Dover, Jimmy Johnson was not to be denied, and he showed us that there's two things we should not do as NASCAR fans. One is leave a race before the checkered flag waves, and the other one is to ever write off the number 48 team. After a bad late race pit stop, Jimmy Johnson simply worked his way methodically through the pack and came out with his fourth win at Dover, second of the season, and this three-time champion is back in championship form, no question about that. Hello, everybody, and welcome to NASCAR Victory Lane on Speed. I'm John Roberts. Kyle Petty's in this weekend for Jimmy Spencer. And as always, Kenny Wallace, we are high atop of Victory Lane here in Dover. And in just a few minutes, fellas, this guy's going to jump out here, and he's going to have a well-deserved win to celebrate.
That was incredible. You know, but I think this is 2 weeks in a row. We saw it last week at the 600, and you see it here, where the race is won in the pits on a great call. Chad Knaus made a great call for four tires. Four tires, he just out-tired everybody towards the end and out-drove everybody. Let me say that.
And once again, in this era of negativity, NASCAR shows, I mean, this was one of the most exciting races again. You know, the All-Star race, the rain delay last week. You don't know who's going to win until the last 5 laps. So, once again, NASCAR puts on a great show.
We saw a heavyweight knockdown, drag-out fight among two of NASCAR's best on the last laps of this race. 400 miles, and it came down to a bumper-to-bumper battle between Jimmy Johnson and Tony Stewart. Let's take a quick look at the highlights right now. We'll show you a lot more a little later on in Victory Lane. And this was going to be one of those Jimmy Johnson kind of days. He's won here before. He's won 42 races now in his career, and you have a good idea when things are going to go right. But sometimes things can go wrong, even for the 48 team. Seems like there's just a few too many hands involved in this pit stop, and Jimmy went on and lost 9 positions on the racetrack. He came in the leader, but went back out, and he had some work to do. But watch Jimmy Johnson. Nobody better right now as Tony Stewart and Greg Biffle are battling for the lead. Tony takes it away from Greg, but Jimmy Johnson is simply licking his chops. Goes to the high side and passes Tony Stewart with a little bit of, well, no contact, but some very close racing. Here comes Jimmy Johnson, and he takes the lead back and never looked behind him, because Jimmy Johnson was not to be denied today. Even though he had just a little bit of trouble in the pits, he came back and showed us why he is a 3-time champion, Kyle.
Yeah, and that's amazing. You know, you saw him early on go up, and what he did, he went to the high side to see what the high side was going to be like, because Biffle and Tony were running on the bottom, so he knew he was going to have to make a move to the high side. He tried that, didn't make any ground, came right back down, and kind of did what he needed to do.
And I think what amazed me is, you know, we're used to racetracks when you get to the high side, we're looking at marbles. And there was no marbles. I thought, Jimmy, no, don't go up there, you're going to wreck. He goes all the way up by the wall, makes the pass. So I just thought, but watch this, race fans. Okay, goes to the bottom, and right here he cannot clear it. He gets a little bit loose. This is about with 7 laps to go. He says, I cannot get it done on the bottom. Later on, he goes so high, he's about a car length from the wall. Here we go. He's okay. Now look at this. Okay, he had to peel around him, but look at this line right here for the win. Look at this, race fans. He's up in no man's land, and this is where he wins the race.
And didn't you kind of get a sense, though, about Jimmy Johnson and this crew? Okay, they had a mistake. They had a slow pit stop. He lost a lot of positions. But didn't you just kind of get the feel that this team bounces back from adversity so well that they're going to get this thing done?
Kyle Petty, the last time I seen anybody do anything like this is Kyle Busch. It looked like Kyle Busch, and only Jimmy Johnson can do like Kyle Busch, high, wide, and handsome, riding high, not afraid to die.
And we saw Jimmy do this before at Atlanta. I think we saw him come, change forward, go to the back, come back to the front, and do the same way, inside, outside, inside, outside. And that's the trick. That's what makes this type of racing, and especially on a racetrack like Dover, so good. Just like Kenny said, you can run high, you can run low. When you get that momentum on the outside, man, and Tony raced him good and clean. Tony's great at making his car 3 times wider than what it really is, but Tony raced him clean.
Well, a victory in NASCAR's top series is never easy, and Jimmy Johnson had this one a little bit harder than he usually does. He dominated the field, was the class all day long, but had to fight for it at the end, and he did just that.
NASCAR Victory Lane is presented by Travelodge, Recreate, Hibernate. Brought to you in part by Husqvarna. Master your great outdoors with professionally proven outdoor power equipment. To find your nearest dealer, visit Husqvarna.com. And by AutoZone, because do-it-yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
A race is never over until the checkered flag waves, and especially not if the number 48 team is in contention. It seems like no matter what happens among this group, there's the triumvirate, three of the best in the business. Car owner Rick Hendrick, crew chief Chad Knaus, and driver Jimmie Johnson got it done again today for the 42nd time in Jimmie Johnson's career. Let's go back to the green flag now on the Autism Speaks 400 and take a look at the first 150 laps of the day from Dover International Speedway. Now, we had a little bit of a gully washer come through here this morning, wash all the rubber off the racetrack. NASCAR had a competition caution, but Kyle, you know what? Looked pretty like it was going to be a pretty good day from the start.
It really did. You know, some of these guys that qualified up front, they jumped out front. You see Reed Sorensen there. You see Casey Kane there. These guys were really, really good the first part of the race. Juan Montoya, when the racetrack was green. But what happened was when it washed all the rubber off the racetrack went through a change from lap 1 to lap 400, a drastic change. Unlike a lot of times when you have the truck race or you have the nationwide race and the racetrack's already rubbered up. I think these guys that dominated or took off at the first of the race really struggled to catch up with the racetrack the second part.
Battle for the lead among Juan Pablo Montoya and David Rudiman and Kenny Wallace. David Rudiman had a heck of a couple of weeks. Didn't finish out quite the way he wanted to, but he started great on the pole.
Well, Rudy ended up with an 18th place finish, but you know, right now, NASCAR has told him, look, we're going to lap 30. Look, 3 wide for the lead, but we're trying to get to lap 30. That is the mandatory caution NASCAR has set and agreed with Goodyear. So right now, all we're trying to do is get to lap 30.
You can already see the black filling in on the racetrack, but take a look here. The number 37 of Tony Raines blows that right front tire, and his day was, for all intents and purposes, done.
Well, you know, this is a situation where this was almost a start and park car. It was a shame to see that car get damaged because he was going to park the car.
So not a good day for Tony Raines in that group, but it was turned out to be a great day for the Biff.
It turned out to be a great day for Biff all day long. He got up there, he got back in the pack, he got back up to the front. You know, there a lot of things happened, but you talk about the tire issue. I don't think the tire issue played out like everybody was concerned about at the beginning of the race. We saw a couple of guys have problems. We saw the 37. Now you see the 34 here. John Andretti goes in the corner. Same problem, teammates. These guys are teammates, so let's keep that in mind. So some of these guys, a lot of times you'll see when one car has it, the other car has it because their setups are so close. But really, it didn't play out through the field like we thought it would.
So often races these days are won and lost in the pits, and today was no question. Here we see some of the best in the business, the over-the-wall guys, the unsung heroes, Kenny, going to work at their craft.
Well, Mark the Kid Martin, Ryan Newman, green flag pit stops, you know, these guys are working hard to stay in the top 12, all these pit stops here. Everybody, all 3 of these cars that you see, these are guys going, we've got to stay in the top 12. They're right there on the borderline, so they don't want to make any mistakes.
The Roush Racing cars haven't been doing as well as they have wanted to lately, and remember, this was a place where we saw a classic battle last season among 4 Roush Fenway Racing teams, and here they are up in front again. Jamie McMurray, this is a great track for him, and you see Carl Edwards up there battling for the lead with the 48.
Yeah, you know, we just saw tons of racing all day long. Here you see the 42 with a right front tire problem. And what was really good about these tire problems is you saw the first 2 or 3 that we had, they happened coming up out of the corner. So the deal was we didn't see anybody really getting into the corner or getting into the wall really hard to begin with.
And so that was somewhat of a recurring theme, but when you get to a racetrack that's this green, sometimes you expect a lot more tire problems than we saw.
Well, I think what happened is these Cup teams had a chance to watch the nationwide race, watch the truck race, so they all came in the garage area this morning, and any crew chief that was a little hard on right front camber gain, they said, whoa, we got to take it easy on this right front tire today. So it was a great race. I think we had 4 or 5 tire problems. So all in all, a good day after what we seen yesterday.
So crew chief Chad Knaus and Jimmie Johnson took care of their tires and their car all day long and notched another victory here at Dover. When we come back, we'll pick the racing back up at lap number 151. Remember, we got 400 long, hard laps today. Hear all the best scanner sound on Radioactive Monday on This Week in NASCAR. Will Kyle Busch again lead the most laps but be denied the win? Or maybe the Roush Bunch turns their season around on the Monster Mile. Hear the emotional team communications on This Week in NASCAR Monday, 8 Eastern, only on Speed. A wild 400 miles here and 400 laps at the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. When we left off the highlights, we had a dominant Jimmie Johnson, and we had made it up to lap number 150. Let's pick it back up at lap number 151 and see who is struggling at this point. It's the number 24.
Well, you know, we're looking at Jeff Gordon coming into this race. You know, he went to qualify well. Remember, he started tailback because he wrecked his car in qualifying. So Jeff gets 2 laps down early because he was caught on pit road, but still continues to struggle midway through.
Yeah, and I think we need to be real clear about that. Some of these guys got caught a lap down. And then they struggled too, so they ended up a couple of laps down. Jeff was never in a position from this point on really to make up that lap. He was always 2 laps down, which is basically out of the race. Junior, on the other hand, had a great race today. I think from the start of the race, they made adjustments. They got there. Still, they didn't close. They have not been able to close in the last, 6 months, 2 years, whatever you want to call it. They've not closed, but I think they showed some flashes of greatness here and showed some flashes that the fans are going to be back behind them and be cheering for them a little bit more.
Another championship contender with problems, Denny Hamlin into the outside wall.
Well, what does not make sense about this is Joey Logano finishes 15th, does not have any tire problems. We're looking at teammates like Kyle Petty says. Are their setups the same? And it looks like, Denny Hamlin was hard on the right front tire and an unlucky guy.
Green flag racing once again. Not too many cautions today, not as many as you might expect on this kind of a racetrack. And when they did happen, they were a little bit minor than usual because of the guys missing the other cars.
Yeah, but the one good thing about today was the way the cautions fell. They fell spaced enough that we never really had that very, very long period. This race is notorious for having that one stretch in the middle where everybody gets a lap down and there's only 8 or 10 cars left.
Right here, this is teammates. Jimmy Johnson says, okay, Mark the Kid Martin, I will let you lead 5 bonus points. Mark leads the lap. Mark Martin says, thank you very much. We're teammates. Go back on by Jimmy. So this is why 4 teams are so important in modern era racing.
And you know why every point counts? All you got to do is ask some of these guys in the chase for the Sprint Cup. They've missed it by less than 10 points to get in, and they've also won championships by less than 10 points.
Kyle Petty, we watched Jimmy Johnson lose the championship by a couple points at Homestead about 4 years ago.
And that's all. You go back and you add up at the end of the year. You take 5 points a race, what you get, 150, 160 extra points. That's an extra race. That's an extra top 10 finish. And that's why these guys that are in the top 10 or 15 are really chasing the points. They got to get those 5 points. And, those were team orders. That's straight team orders right there. But both those guys, we've seen teammates let the other guy go, and the other guy wouldn't let him back around either.
These guys aren't letting each other go as Jimmy Johnson takes the lead away from Matt Kenseth, who was running up front. And here we got trouble in the back.
You know what? David Stremme comes up off of turn 2, gets a little loose, tries to save it, and goes down in front of Paul Menard. Here's another look, Kyle.
Yeah, and this is not Menard's fault. You see the 12 is dead sideways, and the 7 and the 88 or 98 have no place to go. They were just innocent victims here, and both of them had decent runs, especially Menard. I thought he had run really good today.
Roush Fenway teammates running up front and running hard with each other, and they were beating and banging. They weren't looking exactly like teammates. They looked like competitors.
Yeah, this is competitors. The 16 of Biffle just runs all over the 99. I don't care what you say. That's not a tap. That's like, get out of my way. You're holding me up.
But I'm telling you, race fans, we all remember. If you go back to Darlington, yes, I'm going to go back to Darlington 2 weeks ago. The Biff got into Carl Edwards there and caused him to wreck. There will probably be a talk this week at Roush Racing because this is starting to get rhythmatic, okay? The Biff gets into Carl at Darlington. Oh, sorry, mistake. Again? I mean, I think it's going to be a big talk this week.
Yes, and it tells you how once you get out there on the racetrack, doesn't really matter who you're racing. The idea is to get positions. Well, once we pack up our traveling circus from Dover, we're going to head just a little bit north and go on up to Pocono. Friday NASCAR on Speed kicks off the race weekend at Pocono. Coverage begins with NASCAR Sprint Cup practice at noon. Don't miss trackside at 7:30. NASCAR Fridays on Speed are brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning. 400 long laps of racing here at the Dover International Speedway have put Jimmy Johnson and his number 48 team back in victory lane for the 4th time at this racetrack with wife Shandy in tow. Jimmy Johnson is celebrating a hard-fought win. And if you missed the last 100 laps of this race, shame on you. They were great, but that's why we're here to help you out. Let's take a look at the last 100 as we pick it back up with 100 to go. Jimmy Johnson was way out in front, and again, it looked like it was going to be one of those Jimmy Johnson type of days.
You know what? Jimmy Johnson set sail. We said yesterday in happy hour that his tracking times, his laps around the racetrack were faster than anybody. Right now, it's just, okay, Jimmy Johnson going to win this thing. What can stop him now?
And you know what? There's always something around the corner before this is done, Kyle, that can stop you.
Yeah, this is Dover. We've already seen some tire trouble. You see Mark and Matt racing for second here. Matt just pulls over and lets Mark go at this point in time because they know they're racing Jimmy Johnson. But all that's going to be in his way is something external, it seems like. It's not anything that Jimmy's going to do. It's not anything that Chad's going to do.
And everybody always says when you watch Greg Biffle, he drives every lap as if it's the last one, always giving 110%. Here he's driving hard all day long.
I'd like to point something out. As you see, the caution's coming out here.
Debris.
Jacques Debris. And I'm going to tell you what, some of these guys needed this. Matt the Brat Kenseth, he started getting really loose and backing up. Of course, I picked him to win the race, so I was happy to see this caution.
Yeah. Here these guys are racing for the lucky dog here, 3 wide. Okay, and this is why laps. I mean, it doesn't make any difference where you're running in a pack at Dover, or where you're running in a pack in a Cup race. It's important. These guys are trying to get back in the race because all they need is one caution, and boom, they're back in. Instead of finishing 21st or 22nd, they finish 15th, 16th, 14th, whatever it may be. We see the 18 car here. He had
vibration.
Trouble. He ran great a lot of the race and dominated a lot of this race once again. But once again, he was bit by tire problems. And you know, this was a vibration. He had a set of tires right before this that he couldn't run a lick, man. He dropped from like 2nd or 3rd all the way to the back of the lead lap cars.
As good as Kyle Busch and the 18 team are, it seems like the only thing that can slow them down is a bit of bad luck, and that what happened there is you see the splitter dragging on the ground. Just not going to be Kyle Busch's day.
No, it's not Kyle Busch's day. You know what I mean? But, I mean, look, when you lead as many laps, here's the pit stop that really got these guys behind when you see that. And this is, mark this down on your calendar. This is a rare event when anything goes wrong with Chad or the 48 or anything on a pit stop or anything, but you see them. That's that split second, and that split second on pit road, that split second leading, all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're 7th or 8th in line. Here he is. 1. Where's everybody? 2.
Yeah, big lead.
Where's everybody?
For the 5th.
Where's everybody? 3. Where's everybody? 4. Where's everybody? Where'd my man go? Where'd he go?
Where's the 48?
Yeah,
there he is.
There he is, all the way back to 9th.
Wow.
From dominating back to 9th.
So he had his work cut out for him, but he had time to do it. And if whoa, there goes Stremme. If anybody can get it done, it's Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, and this was Mark the Kid Martin. Mark gets tapped from behind and gets into the 12. Watch the 00, though, on this replay, race fans. Okay, the 17 gets into the 5. The 5 gets into the 12. Now watch here. I'm going to lay out. Watch the 00.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's incredible.
He may have taken a coat of paint off that.
And that is the best driving of anybody all day long by Ruderman right there. I mean, that was incredible.
Take a look at the number 48, driving like he stole it as Jimmy Johnson comes up through, picking off car after car after car. He's got 4 fresh balonies, Kyle, but he's moving.
And that's right. Even though he had a slow pit stop, even though he got to the back a little bit, and he was 7th or 8th, what he had going for him was 2 things. Chad Knaus and that Hendricks organization, and those 4 tires, if you look at it. So I guess he had 6 things if you look at it. You know what I mean? So he had the 4 tires and that.
And the guy behind the wheel.
And he got behind the wheel, and he got up on the wheel, and I'm telling you, man, and not only did he drive the wheels off of it those last few laps, he thought about it. He went to the high side, he went to the low side, he worked hard at it.
And Kenny Wallace, here's what you love to see if you're running 3rd. The 2 cars in front of you battling.
And you know what? These 2 guys took on right sides only. Here comes Jimmy Johnson with 4 tires, but I got to tell you, Kyle Petty, I just thought he was so brave. I thought Jimmy Johnson was brave to go to the outside. He had not run there all day long.
No, when he jumped up to the outside right after that and went up there and said, okay, I'm going to try it for a couple laps, and he didn't gain any ground on him, he come right back down to the bottom and started to run him down. Those guys racing side by side helped him a little bit. But when he jumped up to the outside, it was like, my God, I hadn't been up here all day. This is a nice place to be. And he hammered it onto the outside. I really thought he was going to cross over here and try the inside.
Watch how high he goes to take the lead. Now, look, Tony Stewart's up here. He's on the cushion at Eldora, and over the wall comes Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, Jimmy jumps the berm, stands in the gas, gets on the right rear, and drives it up off the corner. That's how simple it was. And once Jimmy got to this position going in turn 3, then Tony pretty much knew. You see Tony, he milks it up off the corner, falls back in line, and never even, that's 6 car lengths right there before they get to the start-finish line.
So Jimmy Johnson takes the win, and if anybody wants to say these guys are happy with a good points day, they don't mind finishing 2nd, watch that finish right there. Jimmy Johnson did everything in his power, and hallelujah, the number 48 team is cheering once again after a great performance, a come-from-behind performance, and Jimmy Johnson is celebrating in victory lane once again. Let's take a look at the full finishing order from the Autism Speaks 400. Johnson, Stewart. You know what? If Tony Stewart keeps finishing 2nd, eventually he's going to get a win.
Yeah, if Tony Stewart keeps finishing 2nd, eventually he's going to win the championship. That's how simple it is. He's put himself in a position to be there and lead the championship with a brand new team. To do that is incredible.
And guess what? I think he's leading the points after.
Yeah.
Oh, you just gave it away. I was going to say, you didn't say that. I was going to say, stay tuned.
I blew it.
Stay tuned. He's not leaving the points. He's not leaving.
Man.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yeah, well, we don't know yet.
My pick, Mark Martin, finished 10th. Let me just go ahead and say that. Jimmy Spencer, I'm sorry I didn't help you anymore.
And a 12th is very good for Dale Earnhardt.
We're supposed to ignore him and let him do his own thing now, remember?
But
not if he had a good finish.
But let me say this. That's exactly what I said earlier. That's what juniors should do. Just knock out those top 10 and 15s, and then let's focus on everything else.
Tough day for Jeff Gordon, 26.
Tough day. You know, but he got that lap down early and just could never, then he went 2 laps down and could never make it up.
And you know what? Usually you think you could make it up, but it is a bad deal. It started with the qualifying deal. But, you know, I mean, they still got practice. Just started tailback.
Paul Menard in the Yates Ford finished 32nd. Robbie Gordon, Andretti, and Michael Walter. Denny Hamlin with the tire problem. And then we get back into the Scott Speed, Nemechek, Blaney, Mike Bliss, Skinner Rains, and David Gilliland round out your field on the Autism Speaks 400. And you know what? What a day it was. Oh, you know what? Here come the points.
No, don't give it away.
No.
Oh. There
Race
it is.
Race fans, this is huge. Tony Stewart has worked all year long, and JR, he finally leads the points.
And if you didn't know from watching earlier, he does. He leads the points with Jeff Gordon now 46 back.
Yeah, but I'm going to say that. I don't think the people that even watch this sport, that watch it, sit at home and watch it, understand how big an accomplishment that is. First-year team, first-year organization, coming in and doing what they've done, to come and run like he's run. Not only run like he's run, where's Mr. Newman? Oh, he's got 2 cars in the top 5.
Got it.
You know, Stewart Racing has 2 cars in the top 5. That's amazing.
So there's your top 12 halfway to the chase, and now it's time for our Valvoline Protecting the Win segment of the show, and no one protected this win like the guy behind the wheel of the number 48, Jimmy Johnson, in his Lowe's Chevrolet from Hendrick Motorsports, goes to the high side, not afraid to die, as Kenny Wallace always likes to say.
Hi, baby.
He's very brave to run up there high, and he gets by Tony Stewart in the 14 and gets another victory. He's down there wasting perfectly good champagne right now, but he's going to come up and talk to us in just a second. It is never easy to win a race in NASCAR's top series. Today it became a little bit harder for Jimmy Johnson, but you know what? The congratulations from crew chief Chad Knaus were well deserved today, because Jimmy Johnson and team number 48 got behind the 8 ball, but then they battled back. And Jimmy, it looked like you guys were on such a mission the last few laps of that race that you were not going to be denied.
We didn't have a choice. The way that turned out, the 2 car, the 17, us, you know, we took 4 and had been, you know, the guys running up front the 2 stops before that, or 2 or 3 stops before that. So, you know, Matt seemed a little looser than we were at the start of runs, and I was able to get by him quick. And then the 2 car, he was dead sideways. I mean, he was going for it, but I was able to get by him. And after that happened, I thought, man, I've got a chance here. And I went up to the top early and kind of worked on a line, and I was real loose up there and couldn't make anything of it. And then once I got to 3rd, I couldn't really get any closer. I thought, man, I better just get up here and try it some more. And I finally got it to work, and the tires came to me, and off we went, man. That was running 100%.
Maybe 110 or 20 or 30.
And that's what I was going to ask. When you left pit road, I mean, we just counted it off when you left pit road. You were like 8th or 9th when you left pit road. You knew what you had to do. Obviously, you knew what you had to do. But did you think you could get back to them? I know you thought you could get around them, because every driver thinks you can pass them once you catch them. But did you really think you could get back to them?
No, I was going to do everything I could, obviously. But in my mind, with lap down cars lining up, I thought, you know what, we should have stayed out. There's going to be another caution. We were on the fence about staying out or pitting. And I'm sitting there thinking, damn it, why didn't we stay out?
Yeah.
But, you know, once we got going, and unfortunately it stayed green, the lap cars were respectful and let the leaders get by, and off we went. So things really came together for us there, for sure.
Jimmy, yesterday in happy hour, you were definitely the dominant car on the tracker. You know, let's look at Jimmy Johnson in happy hour. Did you feel that you were going to dominate like you did today after a happy hour was over?
I had one of those happy hours where we went to bed, we didn't touch the car. We hoped that nothing would change because it was so good yesterday. It had a lot of speed in it, yes, but it was very comfortable to drive. And I could change lanes, I could run the top, had a lot of options with the setup. So I knew we were going to be good today.
And what kind of changes, what kind of changes did the track go through today? You know, we always talk about the concrete.
Yeah.
Was it a whole bunch?
You know, it did rubber up, fortunately, and we got tight, but we were within maybe a round or 2 of wedge and a half a round on track bar, and then just tire pressure stuff. So our car was that good where we didn't have to mess with a lot today.
Yeah, and I was going to ask basically the same thing. Because it washed a little bit of the rubber off the racetrack from when happy hour was, did the track go through its usual change? I know you got that early caution, but sometimes this place just goes crazy. You never know what it's going to do. Did it go through a usual cycle, or was it different? You say you didn't make many changes.
You know what? It didn't swing as far tight as I would expect it to. And even in color on the track, you know, there is some rubber down, but it didn't really lay it down like we're used to seeing. So I don't think it changed that much.
Hey, Jimmy, we're halfway to this chase cutoff now, and as the 3-time defending champion, there's certainly no bad time to get a win, but this is a pretty good time of the season with the stretch we're looking at to get on your game.
It is, and when you look at races that are in the chase, we certainly hope that we'll be in the chase, barring nothing crazy happens. But this is a track where we've been competitive at, but the last couple years we haven't been the dominant car. The Roush cars have been in that position. So hopefully we're in the chase, and when we come back, we got a great starting spot with our setup, and it should help us. When I see races in the chase and we run well at them, I'm like, good, we're setting up for a fourth.
Yeah. And 10 bonus points to go along with this
yes,
win?
sir.
So it's time to have fun now. I mean, are you just going to – I mean, where are you going to be Wednesday? Are you going to be at Eldora Wednesday?
Absolutely.
Okay, now hold on. Jimmy Johnson is going to be up on the cushion Wednesday at Eldora?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'll be there with you.
Say that one more time. I'm going to put it on Twitter.
I'm going to be on the cushion at Eldora. I didn't
He's an
realize
electronic junkie.
you are fast in a dirt car. You're
Yes,
fast,
he is.
period.
He's wicked,
Hold on.
man.
Do the
He's
dirt
wicked
car.
fast. Wicked fast.
Hold on. Please run the tape. Okay,
Can we-
please say that one more time?
You are fast in a dirt car. You're fast. You're in a dirt. We pulled out in practice. I didn't want to say it in a bad way. We pulled out in practice in
filming this.
Eldora.
Let him finish.
And I'm running, and you're in that Jegs car and just going. And I thought I was flying, and I've never really driven a car like that before, but I was running wide open. I'm like,
Yeah.
how can you go that much faster when I'm wide open?
I
You
run
were
as much
doing it.
dirt. I run as much dirt as I do asphalt. Practice makes perfect.
There were a lot of people
Awesome.
today that said the same thing about you. How can he go that fast
How
when
can
I'm
he
running
be that
this hard?
fast? Well, Jimmy,
This is
congratulations. Great job on another win, and that looking pretty good for another
Awesome.
championship. Keep up the good work.
Thank you guys. Thank you to Cobalt.
Thank you.
Good job,
Lowe's,
Jimmy.
everybody, the fans. Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, congratulations to Jimmy Johnson from NASCAR Banking, only from Bank of America. When we come back, the boss man's going to join us. Mr. Rick Hendrick comes up, and you're pretty good there on the
I almost hit
burnout,
the wall.
too.
I was one-handed and I lost the wheel.
Hey, Rick, put down the phone. We need to talk to you, old buddy. Great job. On the next all-new episode of Wrecked, a container truck tips over on a Chicago highway, and the recovery process proves to be more complicated than expected. It's an all-new Wreck Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed. And there was no wrecker needed for the number 48 today because it was rock solid and perfect all afternoon long. The owner of that car, Mr. Rick Hendrick, along with Jeff Gordon as well, and the boss of the whole thing. So not much has been going on with you lately, huh, Rick?
No.
But, hey, what a way to cap off a wild week, though, with the win from this team.
Boy, it was a great win. Jimmy was very dominant today, and I thought there at the end we may be a little bit too far back to make it, but he drove the wheels off of it, and it was a good day.
Yeah, I know this has been a hard week for you guys and for the organization. And when you had your press conference, you had everyone there. You had Mark there, you had Jeff there, you had Jimmy there. You showed team unity and team strength, and it's been a distraction. And obviously this takes away from that. Or obviously this softens the blow a little bit. Do you think that this win and the way the 5-car run, the way the 88 car run, I know you like to think you're headed in the right direction, but does just show that you're headed in the right direction with the whole organization?
Well, the one thing about our group is, we win together, we lose together, and we pull together. And, Tony Uri Jr. and Dale Earnhardt are both great guys, very talented guys. And to show you the kind of spirit that we have and the confidence they have in each other, Tony Uri's taking the 48 to road course Tuesday without Chad. I mean, so that shows you the kind of commitment that everybody has. And these guys all pull together, and I'm so proud of them because they believe in the team effort, and the crew chiefs, the drivers, everybody involved. It takes all of us, and we kind of feel like if we have a problem, we can all figure it out. And so I'm looking forward to the future. And Jimmy did a heck of a job. I hate Jeff had a rough day and lost his primary car, but that's what makes that's the character of a company when they can reach down and kind of pull together and improve the whole organization.
Rick, you mentioned that Tony Uri Jr. is going to take Jimmy Johnson testing. Maybe this is, off the cuff or something, but it seems like Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson last year seemed like they rise to the occasion with testing. It seems like the more they test, the better they do. What is your viewpoint on no testing for Jimmy? They're rising to the occasion. They win the race here. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think when you can test, the good get better. I think. I mean, they
Perfectly put.
They try things, And, you know, I feel like Tony is, and Chad said this to me, Tony is very innovative. He's really a talent that comes up with a lot of good new ideas. So to have him work with a driver he's never worked with before, and to have Junior work with a crew chief he's never worked with. These guys don't know any different. They've been together so long. I think both of them will come out of this, you know, growing as a crew chief and a driver. And Tony is got a tremendous amount of talent, and Dale can win races and win a championship. That's why I wanted him over at our place, and you know, as long as I'm breathing, I'm going to work toward it. So, you know, the whole organization has just rallied together, and that's the way we're built, and I'm just proud of those guys. You got to believe that too. Kyle, you know that.
Yeah.
You can't just tell people, hey, I want you to do that. I didn't have to say a word to them. They all called and said, hey, what can we do? What can I do? And you know, so I'm just real happy that the communications was good on the 88. Mark had a great day. All the cars ran well. And Jeff just had some bad luck, but you know, we're halfway through into the chase, and you know, I think we've got some good momentum. I'm looking forward to Pocono.
Hey, 25 years of racing, Rick. You guys have 180 points wins. That's a lot of time in victory lane, but it seems like you guys still relish every one of these wins as if it's the first.
You know, it's so hard to win one of these deals. And when you say you won 180 of them, that just means I'm an old man. But no, it's good. And hey, you know, you better enjoy every one you get, because the competition is so fierce out here, and you know, you don't know when you're going to win again. So, you know, my knees buckled down there when it was just about 2 laps to go, and you know, Jimmy had been so good all day. But hey, it never gets old to go to victory lane.
Rick, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. Congratulations, and this should be a great end to a pretty interesting week for Hendrick Motorsports.
That's right.
Thanks to Rick, and as we send Rick away, we got a lot of celebrations still to go. Hey, Rick, isn't that your helicopter? Is it leaving without you?
It is. They're leaving without me.
It better come back.
It'll be back.
It'll be back. Yeah, they know they better not leave without the boss. That wouldn't be a good career move. It's a Friday night rodeo as the Camping World Truck Series heads to Texas. Ron Hornaday arrives as the defending race winner, but his championship lead is shrinking. We could see another first-time winner in victory lane. Live coverage from Texas Friday on Speed. Beautiful day here at Dover International Speedway in Dover, Delaware, as the helicopters are starting to pull some of the race fans and drivers out of here. We saw a heck of a battle towards the end of this race today, 400 laps, and the best were towards the end. It was the battle between Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson, and if Tony Stewart keeps finishing second, he's either going to win a couple of these races or win a championship. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
We now can call this guy Mr. Point Leader. He's leading the Sprint Cup Series points, but first I want to talk about that battle, because I know in open wheel cars you don't have mirrors, okay, on the dirt and so forth, but it looked like a dirt track race maybe but with mirrors. It was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's, you know, we hadn't got good track position all day. I mean, I started 31st, and that was my fault qualifying, and, you know, our guys, and especially Darian Grubb there, I mean, the second to last stop, the guys had an awesome stop, gained us three positions, and you know, then Darren makes a great call there at the end to get 2 tires, and we come out second. So it gives us the opportunity to you know, put our off steeple by Chevy, you know, a spot to try to win.
How hard to try to keep Jimmy alive?
That's all I had. I mean, I ran out of tires, I ran out of talent, I ran out of everything. So yeah, that's all I had. But I mean, he was the fastest car all day, and there's no shame to run in second to the guy that was the fastest car. But you know, we did everything we could. But you know, that's fun. It's fun racing somebody like Jimmy like that. It's a guy you can trust, and you know, I don't know how to make it any more exciting for the fans than that. I mean, it was an awesome finish.
What do you think about being the point leader now, Mr. Car Owner Driver?
It's pretty cool. I mean, I wish we were sitting here after 10 races in the chase saying that, but you know, trust me, I'm really ecstatic. I mean, Joe Custard and everybody at Stewart Haas Racing, it's Gene Haas and everybody that's given us the opportunity to do this. I mean, I'm just excited for them. I mean, glad to see so much hard work finally paying off for these guys.
How about this? Last 8 races, 6 top 5 finishes, and the prelude to the dream coming up at Eldora this week. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I ask you, how can it get much better for Tony Stewart? 2 weeks ago, he wins $1 million in the All-Star race. He leads the points, and not just that, the man that he picked to drive the second car, flying Ryan Newman, is 5th in the points. Listen, I mean, everything is coming together for him, and I still will debate and argue with anybody. I mean, I seen it coming. I mean, it's Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, Darian Grubb, great crew chief, all Hendrick Motors, Hendrick Parts. But I learned one thing over the weekend. They have to put everything together. They get the parts from Rick Hendrick. They get the motors. They get the cars, but they do have to assemble them, and they do hang their own bodies. So good job to Tony Stewart. Looks like they got a load of great people together, and they pulled it off, Johnny.
Yeah, Kenny, another team that's putting together a great run this season so far is the number 16 team for Roush Fenway Racing. The Biff is picking up pretty much where they left off last year in championship contention. And again, more third-place finishes like today will get the Biff running for a championship by the time all is said and done. Let's go back to Bob.
Oh, so close for Greg Biffle battling for the lead. And I just want to ask you one question. Were you trying to look in your rearview mirror and say, let me go to the outside? Did you make a mistake?
No. I was just so dang loose. They were going to go by me. And the only chance I had was move to the top and try and pinch them down, you know, because once Tony drove on the outside of me, it was over, you know. And I had to get out of the throttle over there coming off of 4 or off of 2, or I'd have wrecked him, you know, because he wasn't clear when he moved up the racetrack. So I let him go. But, you know, just the next year Ford Fusion, just too loose today. I spent all my race at 300 laps getting back to the front from being mired back in that traffic, and I don't understand. I was running second, 48's the leader. I'm a lap down, 48's still the leader. So I don't understand the math, but I go where they tell me to go, and I drive as hard as I can, and it was a great day for us. But once I got out front, way too loose. Just couldn't put the power down. They ate me up.
I heard you talk about that on the radio at one point, whether it was a lap down or not. I didn't even understand it myself, but the big thing is maybe getting back on track, because the last 6 races have been awfully tough.
Yeah, they have been really tough for us, but you know, we run really good here. We knew this was going to be a good track for us. I'm looking forward to Pocono. I think we're going to run good there, and I'm just excited we got a top 5 here.
Greg Biffle up to 9th in points.
And just like Greg Biffle just said, he spent the majority of the race racing at the back of the pack, trying to figure out where he was at, why he was second, why he came in running second and went out running a lap or wherever he was at and trying to catch back up to the front. The thing is, when you get Greg Biffle in the last 15, 20, 30 laps of the race, he's a guy that's going to carry the car on his shoulders. And I'm going to tell you something. He carried that car those last 10 or 15 laps, trying to hold Tony off, trying to race with Tony, trying to win the race, trying to do everything he could. But just as he said, when Tony got to the outside, he knew it was over. There's no place for him. He couldn't block any longer. He ends up 3rd. Great race for those guys, so they turned it around a little bit.
Last couple times we've raced here at Dover, we've seen some of the best in the business battle down to the wire, and today it was a battle between 2 of the heavyweight champs of the business here, Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy Johnson prevailed this time, but you never know when Tony Stewart's going to bust through and become a winner as an owner and driver. Back to Dover in a moment.
NASCAR Victory Lane is presented by Travelodge. Recreate, hibernate. Brought to you in part by the new 2010 Ford Fusion. Get in and drive one. And by NASCAR Banking only from Bank of America. Your debit card, your credit card, your driver. Learn more at a Bank of America Banking Center.
Welcome back, everyone, to Victory Lane on Speed here in Dover, Delaware. And you know what? Jimmy Johnson found a way to win today, but there were still a lot of other of the best drivers in the business that managed to find their way up into the top 5, and Matt Kenseth was among that group. And as Bob Dillner tells us, he put together a top 5 once again.
Matt Kenseth always strong at Dover, strong here again, but it seemed like the car was good, then it was bad, then it was okay, then it was good, and back and forth.
It was really a handful. We were way off in the beginning of the race, and about our third adjustment or something, we finally got it tight enough. We were just real loose in the beginning of the race, and we made some progress. We drove up to the top 5 with our great pit stops. We got us out one time in the lead and able to run up there. And after we got out in the lead that one time, the car went back to being really loose, and we just couldn't fix it. We tried making huge adjustments and couldn't fix it. Even at the end there in that short run, we tightened it way up for a 20-lap run, and I was still just so loose you couldn't step on the gas. So we missed it a little bit and still got a good finish. So overall, it was a good day.
And Kurt seemed to have a fun battle there at the end of the race.
Yeah, it'd be more fun if he could pull away. But yeah, he was. I think he was on 2, and he was real loose. And when I went around him, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to leave him. And as soon as I passed him, I got really loose as well, and just had a hard time getting away from him. But that was fun to race through buddies like that.
Matt Kenseth, his first top 5 finish in 8 races. He's now up to 8th in points.
Yeah, You know, the one thing we've heard from all these drivers, except for the guy that was sitting here at the desk with us, was my car was loose. My car was off at the beginning. My car, I couldn't get it hooked up. Matt's day came and went, just as he said. It was loose. They tightened it up. They thought they got it tight enough. And this is a place you can't be loose. Kenny will tell you, man, if you scare yourself getting in the corner, you're not going to get off the corner. That's how simple it is, man. And these guys were so loose, they couldn't pick up the throttle. They couldn't do anything. Jimmy said they made a couple of adjustments. Matt made massive adjustments. He was still able, as Roush always seems to do up here, to salvage a great run out of it.
And you know what we salvaged here as race fans as we came here? We salvaged a great finish to this race because we had three of the best in the business, Greg Biffle, Tony Stewart, and Jimmy Johnson battling it out. And there's just seems to be something about this racetrack, Kenny, where we get those kind of finishes almost every time we come here.
Well, we got what we needed. It's been a strange week with, you know, everything that has went on as far as, you know, the forum that NASCAR held on Tuesday at Charlotte. Everybody's like down in the dumps. What's wrong with our sport? You know, they're all devastated and everything. Here we come again, just like the All-Star race. The All-Star race was 3 wide off of turn 4. We had a great rain delay race at the Coke 600 that was exciting. You know, should he have won, should he have not won. Here we come to Dover again, and the man takes the lead. Jimmy Johnson takes the lead with 4 laps to go. Race fans, it was a beautiful day, no rain. It was perfect.
And you know, if you look at the history over the years of this sport since we instigated since we put in the inception of the Sprint Cup Championship chase, this time of the year, you know what I'm trying to say, Kyle. It just took a while to get it out.
I know.
You know what I'm trying to say. It seems like the guys that are in the chase at this point of the year, they seem to stay there. But this year, it seems like we may have some more shuffling towards the back of the pack because the points totals are a lot closer.
I think we're going to have some shuffling from 6th, 7th, and 8th back to 17th, 18th, 19th. I don't think that's settled out yet. You know, we've got the TNT races right here in the middle, those 6 races. Then you ease in to the ESPN races, and we'll be here at Speed covering everything for pre-race and post-race here. But when you look at it, that's not shuffled out yet. And I think the deal is, but these guys are getting themselves in a position. You heard Tony say, I wish I was standing here at the end of the chase in this position. But he knows this is where he needs to be. He knows he's putting himself in a position, and he's bringing Ryan along with him.
Well, we want to thank Kyle Petty especially today for coming in, hanging out with us, doing a great job, getting ready to go into the TNT booth next week in Pocono. Jimmy Spencer will be back with us for NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, and also Victory Lane here on Speed. Congratulations once again to Jimmy Johnson and Hendrick Motorsports, their 180th points win in NASCAR's Top Series. So long from Dover. We'll see you next weekend in Pocono.
We're coming at you.
Boys, y'all might ought to get down here. I might need some help.
Not sure how much more I can take.